speakers joins me on what she would have said next.
Let's commit to each other, to electing Vice President Harris and defeating Donald Trump, who uses my identity as a Palestinian as a slur. Let's fight for the policies long overdue, from restoring access to abortions, to ensuring a living wage, to demanding an end to reckless war and a ceasefire in Gaza. To those who doubt us, to the cynics and the naysayers, I say yes we can. Yes we can be a Democratic Party that prioritizes funding our schools and hospitals, not for endless wars.
That's right.
That fights for an America that belongs to all of us, black, brown, and white, Jews and Palestinians, all of us, like my grandfather taught me, together.
That was Ruwa Romman, a Palestinian American and a Democratic member of the Georgia State House of Representatives, giving a speech that was intended for the main stage of the DNC. But instead, she gave the speech on a sidewalk outside the convention center. As an elected official of Palestinian descent, Romman was one name on a list of potential speakers that the uncommitted movement submitted to the DNC in hopes of securing a speaker slot at the convention. Romman was not selected as a speaker. In fact, despite the DNC's very diverse, very big tent that we've been lauding this morning, and very long list of appearances, no single Palestinian American was given a chance to speak on the main stage, nor was a member of the uncommitted movement, which actually had delegates at the convention. The uncommitted movement represents the more than 700,000 people who voted uncommitted during the presidential primaries, Democratic primaries, by the way, in protest of President Biden's continued support of Israel's assault on Gaza. The movement aims to support Palestine, to demand a ceasefire, and to demand the end to American arms shipments to Israel. More than 100,000 of those uncommitted voters were in Michigan, an ever-critical swing state that went for Donald Trump in 2016 and for Biden narrowly in 2020. Romman says this speech was written in good faith, and it was a compromise. What she and the uncommitted movement wanted to deliver at the DNC was a message of unity. Romman said that as a Palestinian, the last 320 days since October 7th have been deeply painful.
But in this pain, I've also witnessed something profound. A beautiful, multi-faith, multiracial, and multi-generational coalition rising from despair within our Democratic Party. For 320 days, we stood together demanding to enforce our laws on friend and foe alike, to reach a ceasefire and the killing of Palestinians, free all the Israeli and Palestinian hostages, and to begin the difficult work of building a path to collective peace and safety. That's why we are here. Members of this Democratic Party committed to equal rights and dignity for all. What we do here echoes around the world.
The Georgia State Representative Ruwa Romman joins me now. Representative Romman, good to see you again. Thank you for joining us today. Before you delivered that speech outside, you added a note about what the speech was intended to do, and you were talking about the fact that you fully understand, as do, I don't know, I don't want to represent people in uncommitted to what they think, but you certainly are of the belief that electing Kamala Harris is an imperative. But you wanted your message out there. Tell me about a little bit about that.
Yeah, so, first and foremost, thank you so much for having me. And to be clear, I was not a delegate. I went to Chicago for a panel with the American Institute and a couple of other events, and was supposed to actually come home, I think either Thursday or Wednesday. But I loved what Uncommitted has been doing since December. What they've done is they have kept our community that has been full of so much despair engaged in the process and teaching them how to use these levers to get the policy decisions that they wanted. That's why I support them. That's why I've been working with them. We all wanted to come to a place of unity and a place of yes. We were willing to work in good faith. We wanted to be able to say, look, we showed you how many people care about this. We told you that this is going to be a problem come November. Please listen to us. And we are willing to even accept just a symbolic gesture of a singular Palestinian. Doesn't matter who it is, a singular Palestinian, couple of minutes on the stage, and it would go such a long way for our communities.
You are somebody, you are a Democrat, because I've gotten tweets from people this morning saying they weren't represented because they're not Democrats. You're a Democrat. you actually are involved in getting people to come out and vote. You are an example of someone who was not deeply involved in American politics. You went to get involved. As I recall, the story was great about how someone, sort of misunderstood you to say that you were running for office, published a story, and all of a sudden you were off to the races, and now you are a state representative. You're not looking to rip down the Democratic Party.
No, I mean, I have been an organizer for 10 years. I've only been elected official for barely a full term. My goal and my passion and the thing that I care the most about truly and sincerely is civic engagement. I want to teach regular, average, everyday people that they can have political influence. You don't have to be somebody who is, fancy or with a specific pedigree to be able to make sure that your voice is heard in our political systems. Because frankly, the nihilism is just allowing this awful self-fulfilling prophecy. And as more people disengage, sort of the worse the policies that we are seeing get. And I've been passionate about that for 10 years. I've been doing this for 10 years. And that's why I cared so much about bridging this divide, because I did not want to keep losing so many people who are losing faith, so much faith and despair about everything that is happening, including our elections.
And yet, when Kamala Harris sort of became the heir apparent, the nominee, she did say things that were not a departure from Biden-Harris policy, but they seem to be empathetic toward the needs of those people who continue to suffer in Gaza. Tell me whether that offsets things at all. Is there a sense among people in the uncommitted movement that Kamala Harris does hear and understand the complaint?
Yeah, so I was incredibly honored to get an opportunity to speak with her briefly when she came to Atlanta, and I relayed to her that our community, as soon as they heard that she would be our presumptive nominee, was cautiously optimistic. They appreciated how much more empathetic she had been in her speech, talking about the people of Gaza and Palestinians overall. It was incredibly powerful to be able to use that and say, rekindle that hope a little bit. The problem is that people still needed some form of assurance that the bombs are going to stop that are mass slaughtering their family members. And again, to be clear, the uncommitted had multiple asks. A speaker was one of those asks, but it was the bare minimum symbolic one. And it was meant to continue that spark of hope that we had seen. We are trying to not just keep it going, but grow it a little bit.